So we welcome Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch to the program. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Glenn, good to be with you. Thank you for having me on.
So I'm reading this story today, and I'm like, what am I missing here? The CIA, according to records now that you FOIA'd, the CIA deployed bomb techs, dog teams, and personnel to Washington, D.C. on January 6th. But they're not allowed to do that, are they?
I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think so. Yeah.
You know, what's weird about this is we didn't get it from the CIA. We got it from the ATF. So we asked for records, right? And they sent us, well, first of all, they didn't give us anything, so we had to sue in federal court. So that's almost a year ago now. And then we get this batch of records showing these text messages from ATF people saying they had bomb tech teams with them over at that site where the pipe bombs were. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was, it looks to me like the DNC site at least. It's unusual. Was the CIA doing a foreign intelligence operation? Was there a foreign intelligence component here? Were they investigating Americans through this process as a result? What else were they doing? What else was the CIA doing? My guess is my colleagues are smarter than me and already have FOIAs out on this issue. But frankly, it didn't occur to me to ask the CIA what their involvement in January 6th was. But you never know what you're going to find when you ask someone else.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because this is why that wall that everybody talked about after September 11th, the CIA and the FBI couldn't communicate because there's a very clear constitutional wall, and that's why the DNI was put into place, so he could sift through all the information, make sure everybody was at least talking to each other. But the CIA cannot operate within the United States of America, can they? I mean, traditionally, can they?
Yes. I mean, generally speaking, I think you're right, and I'm sure there'll be all sorts of Twitter experts who will give you all the exceptions to the rules. But here in Washington, D.C., there is an enormous amount of resources related to security. And the idea that the CIA was the only available team or only available teams to assist the ATF in this in investigating these alleged pipe bombs, just strange credulity.
Yeah, and it also makes you say, well, wait, if they were deployed because they thought this was a foreign threat, how come we haven't heard anything about that?
Why is it that Judicial Watch was the one who, I'm always happy to get the work done, right? But I do get outraged as a citizen that we probably wouldn't have known this but for this litigation. You can be sure someone else knows this has happened, whether it be on the Pelosi committee or in Congress or who knows where else. And now we have more investigations to do. And I hope Congress gets on the ball here. I mean, to me, they broke their promise to investigate January 6th. The Republicans did when they came in. Maybe someone should ask the CIA what they were doing that day. I know we can, but Congress gets some authority too.
They assigned several dog teams to be on alert near the Capitol, and then they assigned bomb techs to the house side neighborhood where the explosive devices were found. So, I mean, that's a really interesting thing. I can't wait to see the questions that come, because I've got a lot. I've got a lot of questions.
I'm assuming the dog teams were bomb sniffers.
Yes.
But I don't know.
But again, we don't have bomb sniffing dogs from the FBI. We don't have any of that. We have to go to the CIA to have the bomb sniffing dogs.
Well, I think what's the really interesting issue, Glenn, as we talk about this, is were they ready to respond? And if so, why were they put in place or set up to say, hey, you need to be ready to respond, on January 5th, the call goes out, you need to be ready to respond. I think that's a fair question. These folks aren't just deployed easily and quickly. I would think if it's the CIA, they're not ready to go running around Washington, D.C., given the restrictions on their activities under law.
They would be the last ones you would call. I mean, first of all, if you're putting them on alert the day before, why didn't you accept the National Guard from the president? Why wouldn't you put the National Guard? You would not go to the CIA and say, hey, be on alert. There's something very wrong here.
And are we allowed to ask the questions? I got to tell you, we posted a quick video by me on Judicial Watch about this. YouTube vandalized it with a link to the Wikipedia entry on January 6th for further context. I mean, that shows you how corrupted our whole information ecosystem is on questions like this.
So, Tom, what do you see coming? Because we can't continue to live like this. There's, for instance, we just had the FBI testify that the president would be viewed like a really nice old man. So even though he did pretty much all the things they claimed that Donald Trump did, he's not charged. But Donald Trump is in court this morning on the on the file gate, if you will.
Yeah.
So you see all of this stuff. You see a bigger picture. What is the way through this?
Well, we can't be afraid of what they're doing to us and Trump and what they're threatening to do and what they've done. And we can't let that stop the exercise of our First Amendment our First Amendment rights. I mean, the left is trying to turn the country into a one-party state, as best I can tell, remove Trump from the ballot, jailing him, the number one political candidate for president. And when it comes to January 6th, the left is already planning their own, what they accuse the right of doing, which is literally to overturn the election if Trump wins. And all of this noise about January 6th, which continues, even our friends on some Republican circles in the right say, why do you keep on talking about 2020? Well, they're trying to jail a lot of people because of 2020. So forgive us for talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's used as a cudgel to keep us away from raising questions about the next election or the next certification, no matter what the left does.
So I saw a post, who was it? Matt Taibbi had done a video where it's Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and all the surrogates on both sides saying the election was stolen. Her in 2016, him in 20, and then her saying again they're going to steal the election. All of this stuff. And YouTube banned it, shut it down. Well, I mean, you can't wait. You can't say both sides are saying this. We should probably do something to secure it up so we don't have these claims anymore.
Yeah, I think we're going to have another spate of censorship to help Joe Biden again and the Democratic Party win, obtain and expand and maintain power. And I think that's the plan here. You're seeing elements of it. And YouTube just took down 17 Judicial Watch videos the other day, Glenn, because we reposted appearances on banned programs.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, so it was like I went on Dan Bongino's show or I went on Steve Bannon's show, and, we posted the clip of our going on the program. And they, no, those guys are banned. You can't post your stuff detailing your work there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and some of this was years old, and they're just going through, and there's nothing too petty for the communists.
Do we win?
Well, we won't win if we don't fight, and we don't at least acknowledge what the scope of the problem is. I mean, the Republicans in the House aren't fighting. President Trump, I think, is fighting. I mean, he's going to be personally in court again. the battle to save our republic, and I think it's largely an ideological, philosophical, rule of law battle, is going to be a close-run thing, and it will always be, given the divisions in the country, and frankly the willingness of the other side to break all the rules.
Does what happens today with Trump? He's going in for the hearing on the files. You have any idea how that's going to go, or are you following the Fonnie Willis case, or?
Judicial Watch is going to be like the key discussion point down in Miami with the Trump case, because we had sued for the Clinton sock drawer tapes, records that recordations of him as president of the United States engaged in classified discussions. We said, aren't those classified? Aren't those presidential records? Court came back and said, no, they're not. Justice Department came back and said, no, they're not. And you're not even allowed to ask for them. And nor can anyone else. Can't second guess the president. They did a 180 when it came to Trump. And so that's why that case is key. That's why the left is crazy every time you hear about the Clinton sock drawer case and Judicial Watch. And it could be the silver bullet that shuts down that case down there. We'll see.
That would be nice. Tom, thanks for everything you guys do. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.